Greetings, everyone. Welcome to Techniche 2017 interviews brought to you by Anchorenza and RadioG. We have with us Brookes Moore from How It's Made. Is that done, sir? Is
That's
it like
correct. How it's made.
So, sir, can you greet our audience like we greet in India by saying Namaste?
Namaste.
So, can you tell me how you got the inspiration to lend your voice to a show and how you made it?
Yeah, it's an interesting story. I never expected to have a TV show at Discovery Channel, but I had done a lot of voice work as a young person, and I had announced horse shows and equestrian competitions, and then I worked on the radio station when I was in high school and started announcing shows, and then I would continued on with that. And I would do commercials and corporate videos kind of in a region in a state of Washington, D.C. and Maryland. And then had a production company, and one of our largest clients went bankrupt. And it's like, uh-oh, what are we going to do? They went bankrupt. So a guy that used to work for me at another company I had said, why don't you give us a call at Discovery Channel? They could always use extra help. So I go down and I interview, and I'm starting there the next week as a producer editor. And then met a few nice editors that were working there, and the guy was like, hey, we need, do you do, I know you do some voice work, do you do any kind of can you read the scratch track? The scratch track is when Discovery gets a program, let's say from BBC, and they re-edit it for the US market. What they do is they put in commercial breaks, and they cut down like an hour show to maybe 45 minutes and edit kind of the best things together. Then what you do is the writer writes the narration for the show. You record a scratch track. Usually the editor does that, or whoever's editing the show. And then once that's approved, they finally get the main narrator in to narrate it. So I said, yeah, I can do the scratch track. And because I'd had sound experience, I mixed in all the sound effects and everything. And the head of the network, whose name was Steve Burns, heard it. And he said, hey, Brookes, I really like your voice. I have someone already lined up for this show, but I'd like to use you for a show in the future. So the first show he gave me was one about a ship from the Civil War in the United States, and I did that piece, and then I started doing all these other shows for different networks, Discovery, TLC. At the time they had Discovery Health Network, and I was doing all these kind of 1 hour specials and Science Channel stuff. And then Steve said, hey, Brookes, there's this show called How It's Made, and it's a really simple show in that it's very much formatted the same every time. It has 4 segments, and it's about how it's made, and we need a narrator for the show. I'd like you to do the show. And I was like, okay, like I've been asked to do some other shows. So it was really great because I was working on Discovery, and I've been working on Discovery, and so Steve asked me to do the show. So that was the start of it. And it's been 15 years, basically, I've been doing the show, and never realizing when it first started what a phenomenon it would be. And it's been just a tremendous phenomenon and opportunity to work on a science show like that. It's really been fun. And I've always been a real inquisitive type person. I'd always take things apart and always wondering how things are made, honestly, when I was a kid. So it's like funny that I'm doing a show about how it's made.
So you never knew that your voice will be used for such an amazing show?
No, I had no idea before, but as I was talking about before, another conference I gave here, a lot of times in life, there's things that happen to you that you can't even dream about, but you keep on going ahead and you keep on doing your thing. And sometimes a door closes and you think, oh my gosh, what's going to happen? How am I going to feed my family or whatever? But this other amazing door opens, and that's really what happened with How It's Made. And that's why I'm here in India, honestly. I never expected to be here, never dreamed of it, and to have such a presence at this university has really been a tremendous tremendous thing for me. I really appreciate that.
That's great, sir. So, sir, it seems like you have to do a lot of research before doing an episode. So, sir, how much effort do you have to put in for one episode?
Yeah. So what I really like to do is I like to really research the script and study it and make sure that I have the pronunciations correct and can really deliver that story that's in the pictures. So I really work on that in advance of even recording the narration so that I'm prepared and can give it the best I can.
So do you even visit the facilities?
I have it sometimes.
Okay.
I visited some of the facilities. Sometimes they might be shooting in Asia or whatever, and I can't always go to the productions. But I have at times visited some of the facilities, and it's really been a lot of fun.
Okay. So you also work with your wife at your company, Bon Maison, right? Or
Yes.
should I say you work for your wife, like
That's
you said
right.
that in
That's
the
right.
lecture?
We're girl powered.
So can you give some insights into the working of that company?
Yeah, it's funny. We have about 8 people, and they're all young, great people, and we really try to set up a wonderful creative atmosphere for everyone to work and be successful. So we have all different types of people: graphics, project managers, accounting, producing. My wife is really a great creative professional, and we really just kind of come together and really try to work with each other. Everyone has some different skills and different really things. You can't have everyone be the same in order to have a successful company. You have to have all different aspects, all different type of people to kind of bring this whole system along. And we really care about each other and try to do things that help each other out in achieving the goal. And really the goal is to do a wonderful product for a client, whether it's how it's made or whether it's telling the story about a group that provides food and relief services during flooding and things like that. So it's really been a fun challenge and really a great time.
So which thing do you like more, the Bon Maison or how it's made?
I love both. I have to tell you, I am probably attention deficit, whatever you call those things, but I could not imagine myself in an office all the time, nor in a voice booth all day. Okay, so I love going out. I love filming. I love talking to potential clients about they have a challenge and how I can maybe help them achieve their goals and come up with ideas that maybe they never even thought of they could do. So I really love all the aspects of everything I do, and that I'm not just kind of doing one thing, but I have many things that keep me busy and really keep me creative and keep on going.
Oh, that's great, sir. Sir, it's your first visit to India, right?
Yes.
So have you ever seen how it's made in India?
I haven't.
You haven't?
I have
right?
not.
So here's a clip. It's being dubbed in Hindi, the Indian language.
Okay.
So here it goes.
20वीं सदी की शुरुआत में एक अमेरिकन बिस्किट कंपनी ने कुकी सैंडविच की शुरुआत की थी। इसमें 2 चॉकलेट कुकीज के बीच वेनिला आइसिंग डाली जाती थी। ये सैंडविच कुकी जल्द ही सबके दिलों पर छा गईं और करीब 1 सदी बाद भी ये उतनी ही मशहूर है। लोग आज भी इस टेस्टी ट्रीट के उतने ही दीवाने हैं।
Very nice.
So how do you feel your voice being dubbed in multiple languages?
Oh, it's an honor. I was in Peru. My wife was born in the United States, but grew up in Peru, South America. And the first time I turn on the TV when I'm staying at a friend's house there, How It's Made comes up.
Okay.
And it has the Spanish person. It's been dubbed in Spanish. And then it says, like, host Brookes Moore, and so it's like, oh, I can't believe I'm here in Peru, and How It's Made is the first thing that comes on. So I think that's really one of the neat things about the show is that it's really universal, and it can be put in any language, and really it resonates because anyone can understand it, and that's really the great point about it, and that's why I think it's so successful.
Yeah. So have you seen any other languages, or have you ever seen this particular show, the Oreo Biscuit Factory? Have you visited?
Oh yes,
that facility?
yeah, I did that one before, yeah. But I've seen like the French version, which is done in Montreal in Canada, and it's aired in France, and I've seen the Spanish one. Now I've seen this language, so I've seen some of the different languages of the show, and it's neat to see that it's all over the place. Yeah.
So, in all your entire work career, do you recall any special, instance from the show that you will always remember and always cherish?
Yeah. It always changes, and there's always something. I've read about 1,600 different segments, so it's hard to keep track of all of them. But one of the early ones I read was about creating a glass eye, and it's a hand-painted eye that matches your eye for someone that lost their eye. that was really kind of neat, the artisan and craftsmanship in that. Really liked this one called, it was about Tabasco sauce, a hot sauce in the United States that we have, and how they pick the peppers and how it was handed down through many generations of how to pick the pepper when it's ripe and just at the right time, and then they put it in these barrels and ferment it, and that was a really neat one. I love cars, too, so I love doing how it's made dream cars and how cars are made and things like that. So there's been so many different ones. One of the neat things about the car episode I really liked, and I was over at your exhibition yesterday, and I saw like the racing team that builds cars here, and they had the seat made out of Kevlar, and they made it themselves. And there's this car called a Koenigsegg. It's a Swedish car that's handmade, and I was telling the guys that made your car here at IIT that they actually make the rims out of carbon fiber, and to see them like lay the Kevlar sheets and make that and then shrink it. It was like, wow, I can't believe you have a car rim made of carbon fiber. It was so like over the top, yeah.
So have you driven any of those cars?
No, some of the Porsches, but none of those, yeah. Tesla and a Porsche, but I haven't driven the Koenigsegg, yeah. But I mean, I brought a show, the Bugatti Veyron. I brought that show the other day to show everybody here a little bit. So there's, and the craftsmanship that goes into these cars and the hand craftsman work. But, it's really interesting, too, how it's made. I mean, every little thing. Some are machine-made things, some are handmade things. It's just, and it's one of those things that I don't think you'll be able to run out of possibilities. It's
Exactly.
like cars, well, there's maybe a limited number of really high-end supercars. But, there's an unlimited things. There's unlimited things that you can say or how they're made.
Yes, sir. And so have you done any other shows besides How It's Made and How It's Made Dream Cars and other advertisements and other shows?
Yeah, so I've done a bunch of other one-off documentary specials. So I'm not known as much for them because they're a one-time event. They might repeat. Maybe they're on 4 or 5 times over a couple-year period. But How It's Made has just built this massive audience up because it's been on for such a long time. And one time there was a new producer, and they decided they wanted to go in a different direction and didn't want me to be the voice of the show. So they brought someone else in to do the voice. And there was actually a write-in campaign on Facebook and this petition group online to bring back Brookes Moore to do the voice. And I was like, they called me back, hey, Brookes, we'd like you to come back and do the show. Well, I was, flattered that they asked me back. But, that's part of show business in a sense, and entertainment, that you have a unique thing. And I try to tell people everyone's chosen to do something, and we're all unique beings. No one's exactly the same. Even identical twins will have something a little different, right? So when you audition for a project, they're either going to like you or they're going to like someone else. And it's not something that should make you feel bad because you didn't get the part. So I didn't, I was like, they picked someone else. Okay, well, I'll go on and do something else, whatever. But then they ended up bringing me back. But that's like, the guy that they brought on was a great guy. I mean, I know him personally, but that's just how the nature of kind of life goes sometimes, that you're not the chosen one for that particular project, but you get something else.
So many fans had written this successful petition to bring you back to the show.
Yes, and I get people writing me all the time. I'll have, the last one I had was a Boy Scout. He was becoming an Eagle Scout, and he was 14, and they asked if I could do a little something for him, and so I wrote a little note and I recorded a little video for him. The fans kind of make the show, so I really appreciate them. People around campus want a picture, and I'll always stop for them because, they're fans. I really appreciate them. They make the show successful. If people didn't watch it, I wouldn't be here.
Yeah, so that's right. Your fans are like all over the world, many fans. So do you recall any, the best fan reaction you ever got?
Well, one mother called me up, and she sent an email first, and she said, my son really is into How It's Made. He's like 10 years old, and I'm going to get him a DVD set of the series for Christmas. And, could you send a note to him or something? I said, well, I'll do one better. I'll call him on Christmas Day.
Wow.
So I called him up on Christmas Day and wished him a Merry Christmas and things like that. And like I said, I love the people. I love people in general, and I especially, of course, love the fans that take the time. I got a card one time from Germany, And this woman was like, I really love the show, and I love your voice on the show, and things like that. And it's like, wow, someone took the time to handwrite me a note, addressed to me and things like that. So it's really, it's an honor. It's an honor to represent the show and to be asked to come here. I really appreciate it. Everyone here has been just an amazing group of people. It's my first time to India.
Oh.
I can't imagine. I mean, I've got to come back for sure.
That's great, sir.
Yeah.
And so you do such an amazing work. And so for that work, how many awards have you ever got till date?
Well, how it's made hasn't really received an award as a show in a sense, but I have won a bunch of Emmy Awards and a Sundance Award for other work that I've done, other film projects, whether it's a kids' TV series about science or a documentary feature film that won at Sundance about a movie director, to a video about sexual harassment on college campuses that my wife did. So various other projects I've kind of won awards for, but how it's made, I get the feedback from the fans, which is really neat. So that's really special.
So that's it. So that's all the questions. Thanks a lot, sir, for giving your time. This is Parth signing off.